At Subway, start your day the flavorful way by adding new guacamole to your favorite breakfast sandwich. Perfectly made with a hint of jalapeno, our guacamole turns up the flavor to your breakfast. Try it today on a hot and toasty egg white and cheese. Subway, eat fresh.
Before we get started in today's show, I want to tell you about Stamps.com, longtime sponsor of the BS Report. It's quick, it's convenient. More importantly, it's really, really easy to use. You do not have to go to the post office anymore. You can just stay home. Make your own office, your personal post office. You can avoid lines. You can avoid just standing there as somebody mails some package, some 79-year-old lady. Who needs that? Make your own mailing and shipping from your house. Stamps.com. Put in the top right of the site, BS. You'll get a deal and a scale and a whole bunch of other things. It's a great product. You can buy and print official U.S. postage using your computer and printer. Stamps.com will give you a digital scale. It will automatically calculate the exact postage for any letter, any package. They'll even help you choose the best class of mail. Wow. Why go to the post office? Just give it to the postman. Stamps.com. Check it out.
The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects. The BS Report. The BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report. It is a sunny but chilly Monday morning here in Southern California. Also chilly yesterday in Foxborough, Massachusetts, where Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and the New England Patriots thrashed Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos. Because you can't give the Pats 3.5 points at home. You just can't.
Listen, how many years have we been doing this? 7 years? And when was the last time you could say you were decidedly the best team in football? It's been a while.
We've had some runs. We've had some high-scoring runs over the last couple of years.
Yeah?
Is Gronk the best weapon in football?
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
I think he is too. I think he makes the biggest difference of any running back or wide receiver who plays, or a tight end or whatever.
Well, running backs start out with the ball behind the line of scrimmage, and they, 11 guys are trying to tackle him, and Gronkowski is uncoverable. So, if he gets open in open space, that's it. That's it. And he catches the ball, and he's a monster, and it's everything everybody knows. But it's all clicking at the right time for you.
I watched the game yesterday with a couple of people, including a Pats fan, and the first two drives, they didn't get him the ball, and we're all mad. We're just like, just stop messing around. Just throw the ball to Gronkowski. There's an idea. Just throw it to him. And he had like 3 catches on the next drive. But he reminds me of how, a really good center in basketball, when the guy is just a beast on the low post and it opens up the floor for everyone else. I feel like that's what he does for the Patriots offense. And it makes such a difference when he's healthy. Please, for the love of God, can he stay healthy for 3 more months?
Are we going to see double teams on tight ends? These guys are becoming so massive, and Gronkowski's the prototype for it. But it's really going to screw up some Tampa 2s and some defensive schemes, because you can't leave a guy like that one-on-one coverage all game. Just can't do it.
They were doubling him a little bit. It was a good game. It went. I mean, if you're a Patriot fan, that's about as good of a Pats Broncos game as you can get. Manning made a couple of big mistakes. Wes Welker didn't look good. Then, unfortunately, he got hurt. But it's starting to look like they might have sold at the right time on Welker. The Broncos special teams, the field goal kicker, deer in the headlights. They gave up a big punt return. That might be the Achilles heel for them, other than the other stuff. Who do you think's the best team right now?
Well, let me just go back to Welker real quick. I think it's your Patriots, but we're going to see him die on the field, right? I can't even watch him anymore. It's like watching those knockout game videos. Just enough is enough already. So, yeah, they definitely sold at the right time with him.
Well, I'm going to call either my dad or my buddy J-Bug after we hang up with you, because I want to really bathe in this Patriots win some more. It was great.
42 straight home starts versus AFC. 42 straight home wins versus AFC teams. That's insane.
Five straight wins since everyone poured dirt on Brady. Yeah. Thank God we didn't have a podcast yet, because I probably would have had a shovel.
Right.
It wasn't even a Brady thing. It was after that Chiefs Monday night game. It really seemed like we couldn't block.
Right.
And it really seemed like Gronk was never going to be the same. Like, he'd had too many injuries. And you add up those two things together, it's just the worst weapons Brady had since 2006. Offensive line that couldn't block. Where was that team going? And then miraculously, 5 weeks later, boom. But New England and Pittsburgh, I mean, I guess I felt a little dumb picking Baltimore yesterday because after seeing how banged up their secondary was, but 12 touchdowns in 2 games with no picks for Roethlisberger and has these young receivers and just now what do you think the ceiling is for them?
Yeah, well, I don't know how you rank teams like best to worst, but there is one way to look at it. I think there's 3 teams that could beat anyone by 30 points on any field any time, and it's the Patriots, Broncos, and Steelers. What the Cardinals are doing is nice, and the Eagles will be a tough out and everything, but those 3, and I'm looking at the AFC as dynamite. They'll be a 10-6 team that's out for sure, don't you think?
Yeah, and Miami's playing. We were on that Miami thing. For some reason, I just felt like yesterday was a kitchen sink game for San Diego, and if anything, it went the other way. Their defense is banged up. Their offensive line can't block. Rivers look terrible, and the Dolphins might just be really good. You were on that before the season. You like them as a sleeper.
Well, I like both. I like the Dolphins and the Chargers, so I had a conundrum, and I went on SportsCenter and picked the Chargers as my best bet. And I think a couple weird bounces and bad ref calls, that could have gone either way, that game. Chargers Dolphins yesterday. I'm not
being sarcastic?
Yes, I am. That was
Okay,
terrible. That was so terrible.
They were never in it. I had that as I was home. I had the Chargers Dolphins on the big TV. I was like, this would be great. This is staying on but within like 20 minutes, it went to Cardinals Cowboys.
Well, it was like 4th and 1, and they gave it to your guy there, Brandon. He's like a $135. They gave it to him 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and he didn't have a chance, and that was it. But yeah, Miami 13-1 at home against West teams coming east. Why do we hear that stat now, like after the game?
Well, remember that was like one of the most reliable stats,
right?
Kind of under the radar for a while. West Coast going east, and then people started it started to go into the line, and people really started paying attention to it. And then there are a couple of wonky West Coast beating the East Coast team at 1 p.m. games.
Yep, exactly.
And now it's flipped back. And now it's
gone back to what it used to be. The other good one is a team coming off a bye. They're so rested and prepared. And then Kaepernick fumbles. No business fumbling inside the 1. And the 49ers look terrible.
I don't think there's any rhyme or reason to anything this year. Because like Thursday night, normally I would take the Saints in Carolina because I don't think Carolina is very good. The Saints played a Sunday night game. Yeah. And then we're scheduled for Thursday night. Like, congratulations again, NFL, for your repeated commitment to player safety. Yep. So the Saints, they're basically playing less than 96 hours after they had just finished playing. Yep. I figured like, oh man, they're going to be so banged up. No, this will at least be a close game. No, they kill Carolina. And Denver did the same thing a couple of weeks back. They played the Sunday night game and they played Thursday against San Diego, and they crushed both. So yeah, right. You can't figure anything out. So a couple of things about the Lions this year, which I thought were interesting. Underdogs. We love the underdogs this year. Yeah. By my calculations, underdogs 60-58. Does that seem right? It's made a comeback then, because when we were on hiatus there a few weeks ago, the favorites were crushing. So the underdog winners, the dogs who have covered and then won outright, I have 43 of 60. Wow. Which is usually it's around 75%. So that's pretty average. So if you're going to take the dog, bet the money line for the most part. Yeah, we say that every year. Right, I know we do. Just bet the money. Yeah. Why take the points? But the really interesting thing, usually home dogs, they're going to go like 60 to 68%, something like that. This year, they're 18-18. Yeah. I don't know what to make of that. I don't like this season. It just feels like every week the favorites go 7-7 or 6-8 or 7-8 or 8-7. We haven't had like that week where it's just like everything kind of makes sense. It is hard if you're in any of those weekly ESPN pools or something where you have to pick every game and you're staring at a game for more than like 30 seconds. You're like, all right, I'm just going to take the underdog. Doesn't seem to work anymore. You end up like 5-11 or something. But even though they are about 500, but. Yeah, it's a crazy year. I mean, Tampa Bay lost 56-14 to Atlanta and then beat Pittsburgh, who looks like they're never going to lose another game. Like, I don't know what to make of this year. Well, the one thing that's held for the most part, if you just decide which teams you like and don't like and just stick to it, you're going to do pretty well. Like, against the spread, Indy's 6-2. Indy, KC, Philly, and Arizona are all 6-2 against the spread. Now, those teams are all good. Those are all playoff teams. And I think you could argue 3 of those teams were either a surprise or a mild surprise. I think a lot of people had Arizona going backwards this year.
Right.
Miami's 5-3 against the spread. But then you go the other way. Washington's 3-6. Tennessee's 2-5-1. Jacksonville's 2-6-1. And the Jets are 1-7-1.
Wow.
And my phone is going off, and I don't even know where it is.
It's probably it's probably Rex Ryan calling to debate your stats.
Oh, it's our agent, James Baby Doll Dixon. I wish I could conference him in. So the Jets are 1-7-1 against the spread.
Yeah.
Now, you and I, neither of us liked the Jets before the season.
No, we didn't like them. No, but we didn't think it would be this disaster.
Yeah, we didn't.
They looked like they were going to cover. They looked like they really, really wanted to cover the spread yesterday. And then Michael Vick even came back in the game after getting beat up. And but no, just not going to happen.
Hey, if Rex Ryan gets fired this week, I'd like to throw Grantland's hat in the ring. I could turn him into my Mike Lombardi for the rest of the year. I don't know what kind of media options he has, but I'm throwing that out there.
I thought you said all of Grantland can coach the Jets. That would have been even more interesting.
That would have been fun, too. Put Barnwell and Mays, offensive defense coordinators. If Rex Ryan, if you want media options, we're ready. Grantland is ready for you.
I like that.
Last thing before we get to the Week 10 lines, Dallas Cowboys. So
they've lost somehow twice since we had a podcast last. I don't know how the math works out, but
So since we went on the hiatus, as you called it, the Cowboys got red hot during that hiatus.
Right, I know.
By the time the hiatus ended, the Cowboys were considered to be a Super Bowl contender, and now the wheels have come off. And since we did the last podcast, as you said, you lost on Monday night to the Redskins, to Colt McCoy.
Yeah.
Brandon Weeden has become prominently involved in your season, and that just has to be – just describe that for 20 seconds, what it's like to root for Brandon Weeden.
No, it's not good because I watched my kid's flag football game, my 9-year-old, and their quarterback does a better job not telegraphing passes as much as Brandon Weeden. Like, he'll look to the left side of the field, and he never takes his head's pointed that way, and that's it. He's throwing to Des Bryant to hell or high water if he's open or not. But it's bad. It's all bad. And now you've had back issues and you've flown with back issues. Is Tony Romo going to be able to start now this must win? Like, I used to think, like, all right, we'll go 6-3. We could lose to Arizona. We'll beat Jacksonville. We'll be 7-3, and then split the last 6. If you don't split the last 6, go 3-3. You don't deserve to be in the playoffs anyway. But I don't think we could beat Jacksonville with Brandon Weeden. They stick around long enough to cause problems. But now, is Romo going to survive like a 9-hour flight? This is like the first of these we've seen, isn't it?
I would rather, if I'm the Cowboys, he's not on that plane.
Really?
Just stay in Texas for a couple weeks. If you can't beat the Jaguars with, I
know.
I mean, that's a kitchen sink game. You get Brandon Weeden.
You get your best quarterback in there, though, right?
Well, I'm saying a kitchen sink game, no Romo kitchen sink game. Like, that's one where you run 3 trick plays. The Jags are kind of a little bit frisky.
Yeah, they are. Tiny
bit.
Somehow Denard Robinson runs straight up and ends up with great stats every game. Bortles is competent and pull it, that fourth quarter interception or something. So
you're not going to lose to the Jaguars in London. I don't think you need Tony Romo for that game.
Don't say that.
What did I hear? One of the announcers yesterday was like, Tony Romo's got two fractured bones in his back, but it's not as bad as it seems. I think Aikman said that. I don't want to blame Aikman, but it was one of the people yesterday. I was thinking, like, not as bad as it seems. He has 2 broken bones in his back.
Oh, he loves setting Romo up for disaster. That's.
You think he resents him?
It's the history. It's the historical value in that. Yeah. So you wouldn't start Romo. Interesting. Maybe. What if he flies and doesn't start, and then if they're in trouble, he comes in? You're not even up for that.
He's not on the plane if I'm running the team.
I don't lie. The whole left side of the offensive line is out. It's bad news for us. It really is.
I have Denver, the Patriots, and Arizona as the top 3 in some order.
You do?
Yeah.
You take Arizona over Pittsburgh in a neutral field.
I need to see a little more from Pittsburgh.
Oh, my God.
It was just 2 weeks ago when I watched them play Houston on a Monday night, and they were down, I don't know, 10-0, something like that. And then they had that crazy 2-minute sequence that, like, flipped their season around. Ryan Fitzpatrick was the best he ever did for any team, what he did for the Steelers. But I don't trust them yet. And I think we make a mistake during the football season of getting too carried away by 1 or 2 or 3 games.
Okay, I agree.
Let's see a little more from them.
Well, one thing I didn't see, I thought I saw a little love lost between the Steelers and Ravens.
There was a little love lost.
There was? I thought it might have just been a fleeting flirtation, but you thought it was love, huh?
I don't think they ever loved each other. I don't think there was any love to be lost.
That would be a good interview to go throughout the 53-man rosters and see, is there any love? And was there any love? Where did it get lost?
Well, we have a fantasy football apocalypse for bye weeks this week.
Yeah.
No Texans, no Colts, no Patriots, no Chargers, no Vikings, and no Redskins. Now, the last 2 probably don't hurt you that much, but the first 4, wow.
Well, I tweeted yesterday that the great thing about 6 teams being off is there's only 7 games to have to navigate through in the early, afternoon. But the bad thing is you're ending up with Brian Hoyer as your quarterback. So, yeah.
The early games yesterday were awful. And I really regretted staying home. I wish I had done something with my kids.
It's funny because you always now we're like conditioned to think, all right, well, there's definitely going to be one comeback. So I'm not necessarily going to turn this Chargers-Dolphins game off because there's always one stupid game that comes back. But no, there was nothing like that. Maybe Minnesota you can count.
All right, well, let's get to week 10. We're in week 10 already.
You're 5-3 against me. We tied 1 week, and here we go. I won last week. Week 10, Cleveland at Cincinnati, Thursday night.
This season's really flown by. It's almost like 4 weeks just disappeared in the thin air.
Yeah.
Can we talk about your Halloween party quickly? You had a Halloween party on Saturday.
Yeah.
And Corolla and I, Corolla and I are due for a podcast. Put it that way. We have a.
You always say that, and then you end up editing it down to like 6 minutes.
Just serious question: would you listen to Corolla and I talk about the movie Rush for 75 minutes? Because I think it's in play.
Maybe
he's the only person I know who's watched it more than me.
Yeah, he loves that crap.
He thinks Daniel Bruhl got robbed of an Oscar. So anyway, look forward to that in the BS Sport. All right, Thursday night, Bengals Browns. Yeah. I think this is a loser goes home match.
Interesting. Yeah, you might be right. Like I said, I think 10-6. Well, so who would you say the wild cards are right now? Division winners are pretty clear.
I don't think either of these
teams. Actually, the North isn't clear, but
I don't think either of these teams are a playoff team. But I think that whoever loses this game can officially be crossed off.
Right.
Because that Bengals team is not running this late.
They play to the level of the competition more than anyone I've seen.
They're pretty mediocre.
Yeah.
So they're 5-2-1. Oh, you know what? I didn't realize they were 5-2-1. I forgot they tied that game. So they're not. This isn't a loser goes home. This is Cleveland's 5-3.
Well, they've had some horrible. First of all, they lost. They beat Tampa barely yesterday. They beat Oakland the week before, and they lost to Jacksonville. So they're barely surviving these should be very winnable games. But
all right, can we? So New England's in. I would say if I'm saying like who's in, who would I bet on? I would say New England, Denver, Pittsburgh, Indy, KC, and then that 6th spot is between Cincy, Buffalo, Miami, Cleveland, San Diego, Baltimore. That's
crazy. Look how many teams you just had. Did you say Kansas City too?
I have Kansas City in. I think they get to 10 or 11. It's a good team. They're deceiving 5-3 too. They could easily be 6-2.
Well, that's the next. Yeah. All right. Well, so we'll get to that game too. But all right, Thursday night. What do you have? Cleveland and Cincinnati.
Well, the big winner is Indy just being in the division there.
Right.
Holy mackerel.
And now Foster's hurt. Like anything that was even close to them having a struggle has gone out the window.
I have the Bengals by 6.
Well, here we go with the cheating right off the bat. I said 7, and it is 6. Why wouldn't you say 7? It's Cleveland, Cincinnati.
I don't think the Bengals are good. Andy, by the way, was really, really ready to give that one away, and then Jeremy Hill busted the 60-yarder. But Andy was ready. The crowd was getting antsy. The crowd was booing a little bit. They were ready. What is it with the Andy? What if Andy Dalton and Andy Reid combined forces? What would that be like? Oh, it would be a gambling extravaganza. That's what it would be like. Yeah, you got that. Wonderful. I know I'm reprimanding you for getting it exactly right, but you're up 1-0. And we go Sunday.
Early, Tennessee at Baltimore. Last place Ravens against the last place Titans. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, Jaguars are last place in that division. Right.
When do the Ravens get their secondary dudes back?
I don't know. I think it's a couple of weeks, though.
So
I'm trying to think if they had their bye.
That kills them because
They did, yeah.
I think healthy, that's a pretty good team, but that was a team that it seemed like it had injuries in the wrong places. I'm going to say, don't forget, the Ravens are very good at home. I'm going to say Ravens by 7.5.
Well, they'll win this one. They're even better than you think they are at home. I said 9, and the line is 10.
Right.
So I'm going to get that one.
Congratulations.
Tennessee was off last week. The Ravens are just, you can't trust them. They have guys disappear. Like Torrey Smith will have no targets one week, and then you have the rookie running back. Like I don't even know what we're looking forward to. I guess the secondary coming back, but they're still going to struggle running the ball.
Whisenhunt just can't settle on a QB.
Yeah.
I wonder has he just had bad luck with QBs, or is he genuinely too impatient? Like, I wonder if he was like this in real life. Like, he just dated a lot, couldn't settle down with anyone.
Interesting. Put Jake Locker in a wig. We'll see what happens. All right, KC at Buffalo. Talk about, I think this is a must-win.
It's a great game.
I think this is if you're 5-3 and then 5-4 and you have to go 10-6. You may have to go better than 10-6 to make it. So
this is a great game. This might be a loser leaves town match.
That's what I'm saying.
Man, I had trouble with this one. I have Chiefs by 1.5.
Yeah, you did better than I did. I said Bills by 1.5. It's Chiefs by 2.
Okay.
So you get it.
Like
is that right?
So,
they're both 5-3, but we learned a lot about Kyle Orton this week, right?
What do we need to learn?
I don't know. He seems to be getting a lot more praise than I think he's worthy of.
I'm going to learn something?
You'll learn something. I'm going to make sure you learn something.
I look forward to learning something about Kyle Orton this week that I didn't know.
Another really good game early. Miami at Detroit.
Oh, I like this one. So I wish these two teams weren't playing because I like both of them.
I know, me too.
I was like excited to gamble on both of them this week. Speaking of gambling, I had a 3-team 7-point tease, which was like 3 to 4 odds. At the Pats, I teased to 11 or 10 and a half.
The first two covered easily, and the last one screwed you, right?
Pats, Rams cover easily.
Yep.
Raiders, I just needed the Seahawks to win by 6.5. They're minus 6.5. So they need to win by 7. I'm good.
Muscle is screwing you over.
They're up like 14-0. It looks like one of those games where their defense is going to have 58 fantasy points. And then it just, I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden the Raiders are driving for the backbreaking, tease-busting touchdown. What happened to the 12th man?
Yeah, I know. That guy needs to really suit up.
The 12th man has had one of the worst years of anybody. People are just walking in that house and doing whatever they want. Derek Carr?
Maybe the 12th man has the flu, all of them. But, yeah, no, it seems like, you didn't used to be able to drive the field in Seattle, CenturyLink, whatever it is, and score, and let alone Derek Carr doing it.
And then they're like, oh, we've had injuries. Oh, congratulations. You're an NFL team. Everybody has injuries. There's no excuse you can't beat the Raiders by more than 6 points.
I know.
And Wilson looks terrible.
Oh, listen to you.
Well, I don't know if you knew, but Brady and I are really back strong.
You're back, right?
We're so back. I love Tom Brady.
It's going to be interesting.
We've never been stronger.
This is where they renew their vows. It's like the Mariah Carey and the Nick Cannons. Like, we have to get married every year. We can't just have gotten married. We have to renew our vows every year. And then, it's over. That's a death knell right there.
If I could renew my vows with Tom Brady, I would right now.
All right,
he had some great throws yesterday.
He did.
He really just had some BBs.
I actually felt bad for Welker, the way Edelman was dominating yesterday. I really did.
You know what else? This is a weird theory. I don't know if I've mentioned this to you before. I think all the Brady stuff after the KC game, when the Garoppolo was that became a thing for a split second, and people are wondering if Brady's done all that stuff. I think that galvanized all the Boston fans behind Brady. I think people love Brady, and it kind of put the whole thing in perspective with him, and people reappreciated him, and they really want him to kind of be Tom Brady. And these crowds that the Patriots have gotten at these last couple home games have been excellent.
Pretty good.
Crowd
yeah.
yesterday was off the charts good. It was really, I thought they affected the game.
It seemed really loud. Like you were going to win anyway, but it was really loud on that 4th and 6. I think it was right before the half. You guys are up 20-7. And Ayers, they're making great trades. It seems too in the middle of the season.
Made a couple good ones.
Comes in. I think that was their only sack, and then they put up another score to go up 27-7 at half, and that was it. But that crowd on that play was spectacular. I thought
this is a DNA thing.
Man.
Well, this is a DNA thing for the Pats fans who have never respected Manning and always feel like if the weather hits a certain point or if the defense behaves a certain way, we can get to him. And whether that's true or not true, like yesterday when it snowed, when people knew that it was going to be snowy and cold in the morning, every Pats fan was into it. I mean, people are mailing me pictures. It's just like Manning is, he's going to go down as the most successful QB ever. I don't know if that means he's the greatest, but
he's a winner. He's the best winner, right?
Except for the one Super Bowl and falling apart in a bunch of big games. Like there's some
holes.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
But I do feel like Patriot fans, whether it's rational or irrational, like if he's in Foxborough and the weather's not great, we feel like we can get him. We feel like we can get to him. We really do.
Well,
anyway,
I don't know if you'll have the 1 seed or not, but it should be something to watch. Miami. All right. So what do we have? Miami at Detroit.
I had the Lions by 3.5.
That's exactly what I had. It's 3. And it was like 2 or 2.5. So we split that. That's a tough one.
This is a serious question. Do you think Tannehill is the best athlete of any quarterback?
What?
Ryan Tannehill.
No.
Have you seen him on those runs?
I think Roethlisberger's a better athlete. I think, I know he's run. He's at like 4 games with 48 yards rushing average or something. But
the bootleg play when Tannehill takes off, he looks like Carl Lewis.
Come on. You're crazy. What about the first 8 games where he looked like Huey Lewis? Like, we have to sort it out, though.
Does Tannehill run a 4.140?
He's inconsistent.
That dude's he's lightning fast.
He's fast. See, I already see a crack in in the Tom Brady relationship going after Tannehill.
All I know is people are like, "Oh, Colin Kaepernick, what an athlete!" Like Ryan Tannehill's a good athlete.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
He's underrated. All right, Dallas and Jacksonville. This game is in London.
Oh my God!
6-3 Cowboys, 1-8 Jaguars. The line that is out is reflecting as if Tony Romo was playing.
Oh, thank you for that information. That's going to change my guess.
All right,
I'm going to say Cowboys by 7.5.
Oh, you son of a! It is 7.5. I said
really
8.5. Wow. All right.
So if Whedon was in that game, what do you think? 5.5?
Jags by 6. No.
Why didn't the Cards line move more when it became apparent that Brandon Whedon was playing?
No, what do you mean? They were getting 3.5 during the week, and then they were giving 1. By the way, 3.5 would have been good even if Romo. We should have thought about that. 3.5
Shouldn't
was a
the
good
Cards
bet.
have been favored by at least 3 against Brandon Whedon?
They should have, yes. Yeah, it should have moved up.
I feel like not enough people have seen Brandon Whedon play football.
It was just a matter of time. Let me say this about the Cowboys, too. For a long time, we were the team that everyone wanted to go and beat, and then we put together like 63, 8-8 seasons in a row, and it was like, who cares about the Cowboys anymore? And then, like, before Monday night, I especially feel this way with the Redskins, the Cowboys were the team everyone wanted to beat again, the 6-1 Cowboys, and that's why Hazlitt and the Redskins threw everything at them, something you've never seen from the Redskins defense in a long time. You certainly didn't see it yesterday. Is there something to that, like not being the team to beat? Seattle was also the team to beat. Now they're in trouble.
So you're saying teams get extra fired up to play you? Yeah,
exactly. We're back. We regained that status when we went 6-1, and the teams are like, all right, let's play those old Cowboys that we like to beat up on.
Well, you make a good point on the Washington defense because yesterday they gave up 29 to Minnesota, but Bridgewater also missed Cordero Patterson twice, who was wide open on deep balls.
Right.
Like one time he was open by like 100 yards, and that easily could have been a 40-point game.
Yeah. And the Redskins gave up 3 touchdowns, so running back, everyone in fantasy has cut a dozen times.
He just got cut 9 more times, as you were saying that sentence. Yeah.
All right. San Francisco at New Orleans, the third excellent game, I would say, of the early ones.
Is this a loser leaves town match? It's not, because the Saints are going to win that division, but it might be for the Niners.
I think it is. I think the Niners have left town. I think they're 4-4.
They're out.
They're at the Saints. They have 2 against Seattle and 1 against Arizona. That's 6 losses. I mean, 10-6. Maybe you could get in at 10-6, but.
And they have not looked good this season.
No.
I have them at 2 legit wins, 3 legit losses, and 3 either-or games, but also 2 blew-it games where they just outright blew a game in the fourth quarter in a catastrophic way. They've done it twice.
I would say they blew it too, although I thought the Rams outplayed them yesterday, but I know what you're saying.
They totally did.
Yeah. I mean, 8 sacks. That defense is back, of Quinn and everyone, but they and then here's the other thing. If Kaepernick says he crossed the line before fumbling, why don't we just trust him? Forget all this replay nonsense. There's got to be more trust in the world.
It's almost like when you call your own fouls and pick up hoops.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think you crossed? Yep.
Well, I've had money on Kaepernick this season, not last week, not yesterday, but it's hard to trust that guy. I feel like from play to play, you don't know what Kaepernick's going to show up. He's all over the map. I don't feel like he's getting better. Do you feel like he's getting better?
No, I
feel
don't.
Like he's in the same spot he was 2 years ago.
Well, I think we both know Harbaugh wants to be fired or be somewhere else. So the fact that he switches up the offense every game might have something to do with it. Why isn't Franco running the ball downhill at the goal line, or just the whole rest of the game? They're a mess. They do get guys back, though.
It'd be funny if Harbaugh just was working on his resume during the games. or was just wearing clothing from other teams just to be a dick.
Yeah.
All right, so
I have volunteer fireman.
I have Saints by 5. I think this is pure Vegas zone.
It is Vegas. Not quite Vegas zone yet. I said 4.5, and it's 4.
Oh,
so
that's too low.
Maybe they're looking at the must-win Niners situation there.
Yeah, that's too low, though. The Saints are in an interesting spot here. They have a 3-game homestand.
Mm-hmm.
They're
on the road forever.
San Francisco, Cincinnati, Baltimore. And they also played Thursday night. So they basically have 3.5 weeks where they just get to be home and sleep in their bed and just do things that you do when you're at home.
Gee. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Sorry. But they are kind of quietly under the radar, undefeated at home yet again.
Well, I think that Packers mauling shows that they're back. I think. I don't know. And maybe this is a close game, but this team's winning the division.
Yes.
Okay. What
so if they go 2-1, then they have Carolina. So there's San Francisco, Cincinnati, Baltimore, at Pittsburgh, Carolina. Those are their next 5 games. Mm-hmm. If they go 4-0 in those home games,
right,
I think that clinches the division.
I think
that would be 1, 2, 3. That would give them 8 wins. Isn't 8 wins clinch the NFC South?
Well, I have them. They're 4-4 with 8 left. So I think if they go 4-12, I think they're tied with Atlanta for the division lead. So yeah, they only have to lose their last 8.
They have San Francisco, Cincy, Baltimore, Carolina, Atlanta left at home. Mm-hmm. On the road, they have at Chicago, at Tampa. The only tough game they have is at Pittsburgh in Week 13.
No, that's fun.
They're going to be favored in every single game they play the rest of the way, except for that Pittsburgh game. So, it's interesting. I wish we should have had this conversation after Week 7 because it was set up. If they had beat the Packers, then they're favored against the Panthers. Like they were 2-4, and they might end at 12-4. They might go on a 10-game run.
Well, they can go 6-2 and win it, right? If they're 10-6.
Yeah, I don't even think they're that good.
I wanted to look up their division odds if they have them right now because that's a win.
So you're saying we're the only people that could swing their destiny right now is you and me with another one of our terrible bets.
Well, we could do it.
We didn't even talk about how we never hedged the. People have been asking me, and I've been.
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
We never hedged the Royals bet, and we talked about it, and I think we even said the only way we were screwed is if Madison Bumgarner, for some reason, pitched 4 innings, and he pitched 5.
Yeah, for some reason the clock was turned back to the 1920s, where pitchers threw 73 innings in 3 days, and he did it. It came out of
I'm disappointed
nowhere.
though, because it was one of our all-time most memorable gambling losses. I mean, what a great bet! We had the Royals at 18-1. We have that they're minus 140 in a Game 7. We easily could have just won money no matter what we did, but no, we tried to be heroes.
We texted back and forth about 20 times that day, just seeing what we wanted to do. But
yeah. So we could have lost. The only better way to lose that is if Alex Gordon had been thrown out at home for the inside the park home run. Getting thrown out at home would have been our greatest loss of all time. I'm disappointed it didn't happen.
They should have sent them. I know that's all anyone talks about is the third base coach being fired now. If that happens, but it would have been fun. It would have been fun the way then.
Well, if he had sent him and he'd gotten thrown out by 30 feet, it would have. I think Twitter just would have self-combusted.
Yep. Yeah.
But
that would have been great.
What's interesting is my friend Connor was at the game.
Mm-hmm.
Texted me immediately after and said we should have sent him. So
really?
On TV, it looked like he would have been out by 1 million, but maybe he was slowing up hitting third base. If the guy had just been doing the windmill with his arm, maybe he tears around third base, it would have been closer. I don't know.
Well, there's a screen grab now. He's just rounding third as the cutoff guy gets the ball. So the throw would have to be offline about 10 feet at least. But I thought he slowed up from first to second. Like if he had been running full speed all the way, I think that's a closer play. Maybe I think they send him.
What bothered me more was that they let Perez hit. That's what I didn't like, because Perez was on one leg. He got nailed in the leg. He couldn't walk. He couldn't push off his left leg. I didn't think he had any chance of getting hit there. I would have pinch hit Dyson.
They weren't getting 2 hits off Bumgarner that inning.
Yeah, probably not.
It just wasn't happening. Saints are minus 500 for the division, so we're already done with that bet. We can't do it.
Too bad.
Pittsburgh at the Jets.
I'd be a little worried about this game if I'm a Pittsburgh fan.
All right, well, you guess the line, and then we'll talk about it, because I was way, way, way off on this.
I'm going to guess Steelers by 7.5.
Okay, and you were way, 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 way off on it. I said 6.5. Steelers by 2.5.
What?
We need to spend an hour and a half just discussing this line, I think.
What? I was up by 5 points. That might be my record for the season.
I'm sorry. Okay, it went up to 4. It did go up to 4 since I checked this morning. But even so, my God.
So is it 4 or is it 2.5?
It's 4 now. It's 4. But it was 2.5 this morning, like the hours after that game was played.
God, that's so stupid.
That doesn't make a tiny bit of sense. These Jets secondary is going to cover these guys.
So the Jets get the number 2 pick overall instead of the first pick.
Yeah.
So they end up getting not the guy everyone wants, but like kind of the guy nobody or whatever, the guy you're not as excited about. Sanchez leads the Eagles to the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow.
Can you just stop being a Jets fan if you're a Jets fan? Like Sean Fennessy, who works for Grantland, can he just quit? Can he resign?
Yeah, I think he can. I think he could have resigned when the backup tight end caught the ball on his back for the Chiefs, a ball that was thrown 12 yards in the opposite direction. I think that's a good time to pack it in.
Butt fumble would have been a good time to quit.
Yeah, that's another good one. Another one.
Wow, that line is too low.
Let me ask you this, because all these Steelers receivers are emerging now. And you had the problem with the Thomases on the Broncos, telling Demaryius from Julius.
Yeah.
And I think NBC especially does a bad job of cutting away to the quarterback's reaction too soon before you see who caught the ball. Like, all you need to see is the guy's just about to roll, and we're going to see his name on his back. Would you object to like a little flag above the receiver's head, like in a video game, that says who he is? In the red zone, on red zone
Well, that should
plays.
just be its own channel. Maybe that should be the fantasy zone channel.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
The Steelers, it's like they're coming off an assembly run. Those receivers, they're all 5'10".
Yep.
Is one of them? Is any of them tall?
All picked like 108th in the draft. Yeah.
They're great at picking receivers.
Yep. Really good. Really good. I got scared. He got sacked 3 times in a row. I said, oh, man, maybe the old Steelers are back. But no, their offensive line is young. The receivers are young. This is a good team. Atlanta at Tampa Bay.
I got Atlanta by 1, and I don't like my pick.
Oh, you got it. You hit it exactly. Okay. I thought about it for like 2 minutes, and then I said, I'm calling it a pick 'em, and it is Atlanta by 1.
By the way,
let's think about this for a second. One team beat the other 56-14, and the team that lost has only 1 win, and they're an underdog by just 1 point. And I think I love Tampa Bay. I'm going to go on SportsCenter and pick Tampa Bay this week. You watch.
I like it.
That's insane.
Atlanta, I was very surprised they didn't fire their coach.
Yeah.
The Bucs.
This could be the game if they get blown out.
Mike Glennon has broken the record for me. For most times I've said, he's not that bad. And then he'll immediately make a terrible play.
Right. I don't know what happened. They should have won that game. They had, it was bad.
Yeah, they should have.
It's that thing where they'll get 9 yards on the first carry and they're in the other side of the field. And then there's like 3 medium range, just 3 stupid passes, just like get the first down or throw long or something. Don't tease us with nonsense.
We had that game on a smaller TV yesterday, and Hoyer was not good in that game and hasn't been good for a couple of weeks.
No.
But at some point, we all started talking about Manziel.
Mm-hmm.
And, and they kept showing Hoyer on the bench looking sad. And we're like, Manziel, maybe it's in range. And then all of a sudden they went split screen on the Hoyer and Manziel. I was like, come on. One more bad Brian Hoyer play. I want to see Manziel.
I could tell you from being there last year and talking to some people who might make a difference, I don't think they have plans of playing him this year or ever. No, this year. That's it.
Well, it'd be exciting.
I don't want to screw up the draft.
It certainly would grab one of the TVs in my house if Manziel's in the game.
All right. You're winning 5-4 going into the 3 late afternoon games. One is Denver at Oakland.
Oh, I'm hitting this one exact.
Good.
Broncos by 10.5.
All right. I said 11, and it's up to 12.
Oh.
It's up to 12.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Oakland. This is a bad spot for them.
Congratulations to Peyton Manning for crossing 400 yards yesterday. Meaningful.
Why do you say that?
Congratulations.
It's funny because I on Grantland, I put a prop up, one of my many losing props, that there will not be a 400-yard passer yesterday, and it was plus 130. And if you look at it, there's only been like 3 of the first 8 weeks that there has been. So I was like, all right, I'm getting odds on this. And he, of course, was the only one to jump over 400.
Roethlisberger didn't do it?
I don't think yesterday. Oh, you know what? You might be right. As of the night, it wasn't. Let me see.
It sounds like a great bet as we're in the middle of one of the biggest passing runs we've ever had in the league. It's definitely want to bet against it.
Would you have thought it was good when you heard it was snowing in Foxborough and there's 2 good defenses finally?
I wanted him to keep throwing when they were down 22 with 2 minutes left and try to really pad it, get it up a little more.
Oh, what a mess. No, Roethlisberger at 340 was only Manning.
Okay.
All right, St. Louis at Arizona.
I have the Cards.
Good
by 6.5.
All right, I think I get it, right? I said 8, and it's 7.5.
No, you do get it.
Can you see them getting tripped up here a little?
Yeah, it's a point too high.
But, I mean, I could see them, I don't know. Every time I say it, I could see the Cardinals lose. They just embarrass me.
I will say Carson Palmer, even yesterday in Dallas in the first quarter, had a couple throws, and you're thinking like, oh, man, this is unraveling right now. This is it. We're all going to feel stupid for thinking Carson Palmer could be a playoff quarterback. But then he kind of righted the ship, but it's lurking. It's sitting there.
They're making it, though. They're definitely making it.
They're making it. I'm just saying I just feel the dumb moment coming at some point this season where I'm going to put a lot of money in the Cardinals, and then he's going to burn me, and I'm going to feel bad about myself.
Let's do it this week. Let's get it out of the way.
Okay, good.
Giants at Seahawks.
I mean, when was the last time the Seahawks covered?
It was long before
Did they cover that Monday night game?
Russell and Hustle split.
Oh, they covered the Skins game. And the Skins almost got – so remember the Skins almost got the cheap touchdown at the end. Or maybe somebody got a cheap touchdown at the end or didn't or whatever. But, man,
let's see, yeah.
They haven't covered the last 4 games.
They didn't cover against the Raiders, didn't cover against the Panthers, certainly didn't cover against the Rams, didn't cover against the Cowboys. They lost. Yes, it was the Redskins on October 6th.
Right, which they almost didn't cover.
Cheap cover, yep, Monday night.
And then the Broncos game went to OT. They were favored by 5, and they covered that with the overtime touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't cover week 2, covered in week 1. They've only covered 3
Yeah,
times.
this is not
only
your
one
father's
of them was
Seahawks.
legit.
I know.
I have the Seahawks by 9.5.
You get me. I said 10.5. I still went high. I don't know what to expect of the Giants tonight. It's 8.5. So 3, 4, 5, 6 to 3, 4, 5, 6. We're tied, and there's 2 games remaining.
Can we raise money for the 12th man?
What's that?
The 12th man is sick.
He really is.
We got to raise funds. We got a charity drive for the 12th man. Has no energy.
No, keep him sick. I want to try to back into the wild card here. Keep him sick.
Can you get the 12th man some more coffee? By the way, you know I love you, Seattle. You're probably my favorite American city other than Boston. Step it up, for God's sake. Seriously. How do you beat the Raiders by 6 at home? Derek Carr should have been like pooping his pants in that game.
Yeah. That is a bad job.
12th man.
Bad job.
I think, you know what? They won a Super Bowl. I think they're coasting a little bit, the 12th man. Maybe
not coast too much. 5-3. Another 5-3 might not get them into the playoffs.
12th man, they win. They're kind of out. They're out every night. They're not taking it seriously. Maybe the tailgates are a little more important now. It's not life or death. 12th man needs to rediscover itself.
Yeah. Hanging out with Honey Boo Boo's mother.
Come on, 12th man.
Wake up.
Derek Carr and Quest, and they lose by 6?
Terrible. Is it Questfield? Which one's
whatever
CenturyLink?
it is.
Yeah.
CenturyLink, whatever
you might
corporate
be right.
sponsor it is.
Chicago at Green Bay Sunday night. This is the only game that there's already been one of.
Are we sharing season tickets?
What's that?
Which team are we going to share 4 season tickets for of the AFC or NFC team that comes to LA?
Which one? What do you think?
Well, it's tough because I root for an AFC team and you root for an NFC team.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather have the NFC team. Or maybe you just get season tickets for the AFC team and I'll get season tickets for the NFC team.
Okay. That's how we'll do it.
Because if my son gets into it.
We've been talking about this for years, but it just doesn't happen. You think there's 2 teams here in 3 years?
Lock it down.
Really?
I think it could happen next year.
And where are they? It's going to be where the racetrack was, the Hollywood racetrack?
Well, short term they'll play at the Coliseum, but I think the NFL is going to build a stadium and they're going to fund it with Super Bowl seat licenses. Mm-hmm. It's a smart idea and it's going to work. And it's the Raiders or the Chargers? It's funny. Well,
I talked to my 9-year-old and I said, "Listen, I know I've saddled you with these Cowboys, but we have to root for Tony Romo for as long as he plays on the team. But if an LA team comes here, I understand you could root for him. I'll root for him a little too."
Right.
And he's like, "Well, what will we have?" I said, "Well, it could be the Raiders. It could be the Rams." He's like, "Oh, I don't want to root for those teams." I said, "Well, it's cyclical." Then I try to explain cyclical, and he just doesn't get it. I was like, "I'm sorry. The Broncos aren't coming to LA. I don't know what to tell you."
Well, it's definitely the Rams. And I think it's Raiders, Jaguars, or Chargers for the West Coast team, for the AFC team.
All right.
I think the Jags would be fun. The LA Jaguars, I just kind of like it.
That is pretty good.
Yeah,
that is pretty good.
We'll see. All right, 2 more left.
Chicago at Green Bay Sunday night.
I got Packers by 9.5.
Oh wow, you went high. I win the week now. Because I picked the last one exactly. It's I said Green Bay by 7. It's 7.5.
That's too low.
You think too low?
Yeah, I think that Bears team has the biggest of biggest pitchforks in it.
And these 2 teams went opposite ways in the Relax Bowl when Aaron Rodgers told everyone to relax. Green Bay beat Chicago in Chicago 38-17. So like a little over a month ago.
I think Chicago's done.
They went in different directions. So what are we doing? Teaser with Steelers and Packers?
I'm going to tease the Packers with everyone in week 10, college football. I'll parlay them with basketball teams.
You teaser with the Packers and the 12th man? Get the 12th man down the 6th man?
Yeah.
You could do it. And then Carolina at Philly Monday night.
Sanchez, how many points is he worth toward the Panthers? Because normally I would say like Eagles by 8, but I think Sanchez knocks the line down by at least a half point. So I'm going to say Eagles by 7.
Well, they knocked it down even more. I hit it. It's 6.
Oh, he's worth 2 points.
Yeah. It's funny when they interviewed him, he says, "Well, it all comes back so quickly." It's like, what? Really? Well, does the bad stuff come back quickly too? Because that's, I think, where we left off with you.
I don't mind Sanchez. Sanchez won playoff games.
I thought he got, I don't know. I mean, the Jets, it just wasn't going to work for him there, I guess. I know he did win road playoff games, which is tough for a young quarterback. But
my thing is when you're in a terrible situation, it's really hard to say you're terrible at whatever job you have. If you're in a bad situation, that has to factor in a little bit. And you just look at that Jets situation, the fan base, the city, the weapons he had, the coaching, like all that stuff. It's like, hey, it wasn't a great chance for him to succeed.
Right. You're right. Well, I'm not going to root for him in Philly. I'm sorry.
I have a gambling tip for you.
What is it?
You know I'm always wrong with NBA. Day-to-day gambling lines, nobody's worse than me. It's almost like I have too much information. So anywhere I lean, just go the other way. The style that the Celtics are playing, I think the over is one of the great bets in sports history for this next month.
Really?
Yeah, because they're just trying to emulate the Spurs, and they're all about pace, and they're all about shooting threes and just pushing the ball. And even like the Houston game on Saturday night, where they were like 0 for 20 from threes, they'd made the threes, they would have hit the over by like 15 points.
But wait, didn't you tell me in my party you lost with the over? Was that
I
Saturday
did,
night?
but they went like 0 for 20 from threes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here's something my buddy sent me. The favorites, if you money line the favorites the first day of the NBA season, like there were 12 games, 58-1 odds. They all won.
Wow.
58-1.
That's amazing.
That won't happen again. We missed it.
All right, cuz, plug some stuff.
Yeah, and Jimmy Kimmel Live, Nathan Fillion tonight, Gina Rodriguez, Fallout Boy, and my annual Halloween hidden camera prank on unsuspecting trick-or-treaters. And look for my Thursday night game prop blog on Grantland. It'll start Thursday afternoon, and then Sports Center starting at 10 p.m. Thursday on the West Coast, runs throughout the day Friday. Somehow picked 3 teasers in a row. That's the good news. Everything else is the bad news.
You've always been good at the teasers. Because we'll see you for week 11, as always. Good job by you.
Good job by you, Billy.
All right, as promised, we're going to call my dad, who's excited about the Patriots game. I have not talked to him since the Patriots beat Denver. So let's do that right now.
Hello.
Tom Brady has risen.
Tom Brady has looked terrific the last 5 weeks. After all the naysayers called for us to be trading him or getting a draft pick or starting Garoppolo. So looking good.
Well, one good thing is that we never did a podcast after that Chiefs game because we were both in a pretty dark place.
Well, the other thing, though, is it seems like every year we have that one terrible game.
Yeah.
And then the team rallies. And the problem, though, on top of that is this is like 4 years in a row we've had major injuries. So I thought their performance yesterday, given the people that they've lost for the year, or at least even Chandler Jones for the next month, I thought it was just outstanding.
It was great. Didn't you feel good when you knew it was going to be cold and a little bit snowy?
Yeah. If it had been a 1 o'clock game, it would have been even more disruptive weather conditions for Peyton Manning, because at 1 o'clock it was still snowing and the wind was howling.
Right.
By the time we got to the fourth quarter, the wind had really died down, as you noticed.
Sal and I were just talking. I was explaining how I feel like, in a weird way, the Chiefs loss and then the whole is Brady done, all that stuff, it's kind of rejuvenated the Boston fans behind Brady a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants this Brady thing to end yet.
I know.
And people are really locked in, I feel like, on this particular Patriots team. Do you agree?
I agree, and I also think that all that talk after the Kansas City game really got to Brady, really irritated him, really irked him.
Yeah.
And he's been an angry player and a happy player at the same time. He's really in charge out there. And he has new players that are finally starting to adapt. And also Gronkowski finally looks about 99% healthy, don't you think?
Yeah. And that's we've been talking about that on the phone the last few weeks, but that's the guy. If we have him healthy, I feel like we have a chance against anybody, you know?
There was a scary moment in that game last.
I know what you're going to say.
That same guy that got him last time,
T.J. Ward-Pollard.
he went for the knees.
I know. That guy's. We were talking about it, not you and me, but my friends that were over a week ago, about how this seems to be the new way to tackle tight ends because you're not allowed to go high on them anymore. So all these safeties just come flying in at their knees, and they're taller, and it's tough for them to kind of absorb the hit. It just seems like that's going to keep happening.
Well, I mean, after the same guy as the guy that knocked him out a year ago, and it was almost the same way. He went airborne, heading toward the knee and right below the knee, and no penalty called.
Right.
I mean, crazy.
I thought they were going to run a play where they were just a play that Gronk could just annihilate that guy somehow, like a little revenge block play or something. But I guess the revenge was the 43 points.
Maybe the revenge was the backwards, one-handed, left-handed, catch that ball, twist around, and fall to the ground on the 1-yard line.
It was amazing.
Even Brady, in his press conference, which I don't think you get that on the West Coast, said it was the most spectacular catch he's ever witnessed.
Wow.
I mean, which obviously says a lot, given and also given he threw that pass. It wasn't a very well thrown pass, but that Gronkowski, if he could stay healthy. But all these cheap shots that these safeties are taking to try to get him out of the game, it's just going to continue.
It certainly does feel that way.
Yeah.
Be honest, in the first half, you got mad at Brandon LaFell a little bit.
Oh, yeah. He's a little bit our trick-or-treat guy this year.
Yeah.
He can do some really good things. He gets open, and then he seems to have one or two plays a game where you just shake your head and you wonder why he can't get his act together.
He's kind of a compilation of all the frustrating receivers we've had during the entire Brady era.
Fortunately, though, Brady doesn't seem to have lost confidence in him. He still goes back to him. Although there was a stretch after he dropped that touchdown.
That he wasn't around?
He wasn't around. I thought Belichick sent him in the locker room.
We noticed that. All of a sudden, it was Amendola and Edelman for a while.
All of a sudden, the other trick-or-treat guy was out there, Amendola, doing things.
Yeah.
And, of course, Amendola is another trick-or-treat guy who caused the interception. Not catching that pass. But it's hard to complain. I mean, how about, though, my brother Don, who you know, obviously.
Yeah, because he's my uncle. I do know him.
Texted me throughout the game.
Yeah.
The joke in the family is when we play Manning, Don hides under the bed and we don't let him come out until it's safe. And he texted me halfway through the third quarter. I think we were up like 25 points. And he said, can I come out from under the bed now? And I said, no, not until the middle of the fourth quarter. Manning still scares me to death.
I know.
I don't care how far behind he is.
I know. It is funny. Like at one point, what was it, like 35 to 14 or whatever it was?
Safe?
No. There was 11 minutes left. We're up 22. When we didn't get the 2-point, I was mad. I was like, oh no.
Right.
We're only up 22.
And that's what I was figuring. Oh no, now they only need 2 7-point touchdowns and 1 2-point conversion, and they're tired again.
Yeah.
Well,
that was a big win from a home field advantage standpoint.
It was.
It really was big.
I'm sure you noticed at some point toward the end of the game they posted the Patriots schedule and Denver's schedule. Our next 5 games are really, really difficult.
Yeah.
And here you have Denver next Sunday playing Oakland. And, I mean, they just have, I don't know why a team that was in the Super Bowl ends up seemingly with a much softer schedule. I'm not sure how that came about, but.
Well, Denver has 2 Oakland games left. They're at St. Louis. They're home from Miami and at KC, home for Buffalo. They could lose one of those. At San Diego, we have San Diego too, and San Diego is going the wrong way. And then their toughest is Week 16. They're at Cincinnati Monday night, I guess. At KC, at Cincinnati are their two toughest.
Well,
Patriots.
certainly the next 5 games are all tough.
Pats are at Indy, home for Detroit, at Green Bay, at San Diego, home for Miami, little revenge game there, at the Jets, home for Buffalo.
All tough games. I mean, I know the Jets are terrible, but they always play us well. Buffalo has been playing us well. Tough schedule. I wish I was playing Oakland twice.
It's weird we're playing at Green Bay, I think on Thursday, right? Or no?
No, I don't think so.
Or maybe it's Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
It's a Thanksgiving Sunday.
It's Thanksgiving Sunday, yeah.
I don't remember the last time we played at Lambeau.
I don't either, actually.
It's been a while. That's going to be a good one. Yeah, we got Luck, and we got so we had Peyton Manning, Luck, and Rodgers 3 or 4 weeks, and then we got Detroit with Calvin Johnson back.
And San Diego, which I thought was playing better. I did watch some of that game yesterday. Rivers looked terrible, but it might have just been one of those games.
Do you want to talk really quickly about the Celtics?
I wish we were talking about the Celtics after the first game. The second game, they looked terrible, but
we didn't make a shot.
I know, but
we couldn't make a 3. It's kind of a fun team. I like the style, though.
It's a fun team. I like all the young guys, but
Rondo's back,
and obviously when they make 3-point shots, it's even more of a fun team. But I think they made 1 out of their 21 3-point shots.
Yeah, they're 0 for 20. And then Jeff Green finally made one. Yeah, they missed their first 20. That's a problem.
That's going to shoot you out of every game. Houston.
I like the style, though. Yeah, Houston. The Dwight Howard against Kelly Olynyk and Jared Sullinger and Brandon Bass is a problem.
Right.
And Tyler Zeller and all these people.
But again, Dwight Howard's not impacting 3-point shooting.
No.
We're just the Marcus Smart is going to take a while, and I think he's shot 0 for 7, didn't he? His shooting is going to be a back and forth thing all year long, I guess.
He's going to be a crowd favorite, though.
Yeah, again, I didn't make opening night, but I go this Friday night, and they're playing Indy, which I thought was going to be I thought was going to be a great matchup, and obviously now Indy's really struggling with injuries.
You're not excited to see Donald Sloan and Rodney Stuckey? I think that's their crunch time guards.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a problem. I like the Celtics team. I feel like it has an identity. They have a great coach. Rondo looks like Rondo from 3 years ago, and I've now flipped my opinion yet again.
Well, I think
it's a new personal record. I do not want to trade Rondo now.
If you were living in Boston and you were talking basketball, there's only one topic of conversation. It's are they or are they not going to trade him, and should they or should they not trade him, and what might they get for him if they do want to trade him? I mean, so many question marks. He looks healthy. That's obviously a positive for another team weighing whether they want to make a trade for him.
I think he looks fantastic. He's getting to where he wants to get in the court.
So now you're of the opinion we should give him the max contract and hold on to him?
Yeah. And the only way I wouldn't is if somebody came in with a stupid trade. Like you probably haven't watched Minnesota yet this year, but that trade they made for Kevin Love, which I'm always of the opinion you want to keep the best guy in a trade, but he was leaving, they didn't have a choice. That was about as good as they were going to do. That Anthony Bennett is going to be good. I think that's going to be a redemption story. That guy had a huge impact in the Bulls game, and Wiggins is going to be good. And they got two, elite prospects for a guy who was leaving anyway. So if that trade is out there, I would do it. My issue is I don't know if that trade's out there.
I'm not sure that trade is out there because there certainly are more high-performing point guards right now than there are Kevin Love type rebounding, shooting forwards. I think he was more valuable.
The team I have an eye on is Sacramento, and that's the team that I always thought made the most sense because that they want to make a splash. They've already done a trade a little bit similar to that, although they didn't have to give up a lot. But Rudy Gay, like just trying to get a veteran who makes a lot of money and figuring out later.
But who would you want on that team?
But they beat the Clippers last night. Yesterday afternoon. They had like a legitimate win, and Cousins looked fantastic.
Yeah, but you're not going to get Cousins.
No.
Isaiah Thomas.
Not on the team anymore.
He's not on the team anymore. He might have been a nice piece to a trade. I don't see how we match up.
Maybe you get...
Might have to be a 3-team trade.
They got their first rounder. They have Stauskas. They have Ben McLemore.
I look at the box score like Ben McLemore looks like he's a bust.
I know he's not having a good start. I would buy low on Ben McLemore though. I think he's only like 20 or 21. I do like Stauskas.
Well, that's fine, but if you're gonna make a trade for Rondo, you can't take back only guys that you're buying low on. Yeah,
low potential guys. I agree. That's why they're probably going to keep him. I thought Detroit was another possibility, but they started out terribly. The Knicks just don't have the pieces.
No. And it's not. And the other part is who really needs this kind of point guard. I mean, maybe we do the most of any of the teams that we're going to talk about.
I also like Rondo. I just like watching him. It was so much fun watching him kind of at the peak of his powers again in those first 2 games. Like, he's just an incredible passer.
I'm looking forward to Friday for a reason. When you and I, all the years we've gone to the games, we always kind of like, because of where we sit, to watch what's happening in the huddle and the interaction between the coach and the players with each other. And, does the coach have the attention of everybody? And my impression, at least from TV, is that the players are really looking to Rondo as a leader. Rondo is accepting that role, and Rondo and the coach are getting along fine. That will mean a lot when they decide, do they really want to trade him, I think.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And I also think it seems like he wants to stay. It seems like he respects the coach. And Stevens, from what I heard, Stevens and his coaching staff spent the summer studying the Spurs and trying to figure out what made everything work for the Spurs. And
it helps. It helps when you luck out and you can draft Kawhi Leonard.
Well, right? other than the part where they got Tim Duncan and Kawhi Leonard. Okay. No, but it was the big things with them was pace and space were the 2 things that they were like, we have to figure out how to match the Spurs and what they do with pace. And so that's what Stevens has been kind of preaching and pushing during this whole preseason, even during the games. Like it's a team that wants to shoot threes and layups,
right?
Are the 2 shots they want, which sounds like a cliche, but they don't. Stevens doesn't care that they went 0 for 20 for threes because he wants them to keep taking those shots. He wants them to push the ball, and he wants them to play like the Spurs. And it's not a bad strategy. And they have the guy in Rondo who can kind of be the chef putting all the ingredients together for the meal. They just need better guys around him.
That's a good point. I mean, Rondo and Tony Parker have a lot of similar qualities.
Right. They can, you use the point guard to kind of draw the defense to put you in a position where you got guys open around and, pushing the ball and the fast break, things like that. So I like where they're at. And what's really interesting, if they wanted to go the other way, if for some reason they thought they had a chance to be good a little bit sooner than maybe we think, they could go the other way and use one of those Brooklyn picks and James Young too. Like they have pieces to kind of, like, let's say Atlanta fell out of it and decided they want to trade Al Horford.
Right.
But the Celtics could get in on that immediately, and there's a couple guys around the league like that maybe they'd want to make a run at. So I think they're going to be one of the most interesting teams to watch just from a transaction standpoint. I have no idea what direction they're going to go.
That's funny. There was an article tucked away in one of the newspapers up here about that exact same topic, Al Horford, and Atlanta looks like they are going to be out of it pretty quickly. And
I like them this year. I thought they were going to be in the 40s.
I don't know. I don't think
they're 1-1 so far.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's the East is definitely a lot better than it was last year.
I saw your Clippers lost last night.
No, yesterday. It was during the
yesterday?
day.
Did you go?
Of course not. It was a 12:30 game.
Oh, 12:30 game?
Yeah, the Clips have some issues. They have too many guard. They don't have like a guy to guard those 6'7", 6'8" forward swingman type guys. Like Perry Jones, I went Thursday night. Perry Jones like lit them up. They couldn't stop him.
Perry Jones, I'm still shaking my head about.
I know, you
why?
were mad that day. They took Fab Melo over him. You were upset.
I mean, really? Fab Melo? You pass up on Perry Jones?
Yeah, it wasn't great. That was one of those. I think you texted me the first game you saw Fab Melo in person. You were just out immediately. Like for him in the warm up line, you were out.
Immediately. He looked like he wanted to be on the beach. He wasn't interested in playing basketball.
Well, he got his wish because I don't think he's in the league anymore.
I think he's on the beach in Brazil right now.
Yeah, but I think this Clip team, like, the biggest possessions of the game that I went to on Thursday night, they had Jamal Crawford out there for defense. Like one of the times OKC called a timeout to set up a play, and the Clippers had a timeout to make subs and still had Jamal Crawford out there.
Well, he didn't play last night, right? He was hurt.
He didn't play. Yeah. But I mean, I'm just saying, like,
you have Spencer Hawes, don't you, for defense? You made some strange signings on that Clipper
Why are you
team.
saying you? I'm running the Clippers.
My last recollection was you have season tickets.
Yeah, but just because I get to go to NBA games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was excited. Thursday night was, I was like, this could be great. Westbrook, and he got hurt within 6 minutes.
I know that. We have our annual basketball fantasy league draft on Saturday, and there's so many question marks with guys getting hurt. And do you take chances on them? And when are they coming back? And
well,
it's kind of
difference in him
already.
Yeah, the difference in him and Rondo is he hurt his shooting hand.
Yeah.
And Rondo hurt the left hand, which doesn't have quite as much of an impact.
Well, you have Derrick Rose, who already has missed 2 games, and I mean,
it's a weird year. Plus, you have LeBron, who I watched a lot of those first 2 Cavs games. LeBron doesn't look as explosive as he used to look. But maybe he just has too much going on in his head.
They have to find their way.
Yeah. They'll find their way, but it might take 20 to 30 games.
Well, the thing that struck me watching Cleveland, in order to get what they have, their bench looks pretty weak. They could really use Ray Allen coming out of retirement, although he hasn't retired, but they need a shooter off the bench. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, that bench looked pretty short. Reminded me of Miami's first year when their bench really hurt them.
There's a lot of Deladova, who I actually like, but he's playing crunch time for them in a couple of these games, which is weird. It's wide open, though. I really think like 10 teams could make the finals. Yeah,
it's going to be a fun season. I'm looking forward to the games, the Celtic games I'm going to go to. Like you, I was next week we have Oklahoma City in here, and I was really looking forward to that game. And obviously, neither of them is going to play now, right?
You have both of them. You have Oklahoma City and then Cleveland, like back to back.
Back to back, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah. Well, interesting times in Boston.
Yep, interesting times.
Although it looks like the Bruins are headed for one of those off seasons. Just has all the makings.
Well, their injury.
A lot of untimely injuries and weird things.
I'd rather their history is they get the injuries toward the playoffs. I'd rather let them get the injuries now and be healthy for the playoffs, right? I'm okay with this.
All right.
Let Krejci rest for a month.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, the Pats are back, we hope. Dad, always a pleasure. Talk to you soon.
Pats are back.
Yeah.
5 tough games. Hopefully we're going to be 12-2 next time we talk.
All right. Talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Target percent off. Whoa.
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Podcenter at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.
Geico presents Strange Savings Stories. Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.